Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, give all praise, Yahweh Shem Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles. The men on down regarding this truth and knowledge. For why the Yahweh Shem putting the spirit of the elders and apostles on down, and the men in this truth, but now so we can learn this truth and knowledge, know this truth and knowledge. Call holy Yahweh Shem Kakadash, give all praise, Yahweh Shem Kakadash. We're going to do some scriptures relating to, celebrities a little bit. We're going to go to Luke 6 and 24. But woe unto you that are rich, sorority, for ye have received your consolation. Your consolation is what? The riches, man. The benefits on this side, man. 25. Woe unto you that are full. Ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now. Ye shall mourn later. So these are the consequences going to happen, man. Because you're a fool now. For example, these celebrities, they fool what? Of their benefits and different things. But they're going to hunger later, man. Woe to you that laugh now. For example of that, scoffers and scorners, man. But they're going to be the ones mourning later, man. Especially when the dynamic of society, flips around, man. "26. Woe to you when men shall speak well of you. Because in this truth, when they speak well to you, you have to question that, man. Because, false prophets, scripture talks about in Isaiah, talking about, don't speak us truth, speak us, prophesize us deceit, prophesize us lies, man. So these false prophets will speak deceitfully to you regarding this truth. They're gonna speak falsity, man, leasing falsehood and lies, man, really for their own interests. The scripture talk about, they're looking out for the interests of their own belly, man. Woe to you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. So yeah, part of that speak well to you is that falsity and lies relating to regarding the truth, man. Not telling you the things you really need to know, only telling you what they think you need to know, but actually not what you, but actually the things you should know, they don't, man. All right, 27. Well, I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do to them which hate you. That relates to your brother. That makes the point, you know what I mean? So let's go to the next one. Matthew 6 and 24, I believe. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. He cannot serve God and manna. The manna is the material things of the world, the worldly things, man. So you got to either one or the other, man. And the celebrities, for this case, they're about the manna, man. The dollar bill says, "In God we trust." In God we trust relates to the ones that in power of this world. The God of this world, they trust. They trust in their manners, their benefits, and different things, man. Because they made that consolation, they made that covenant, that bond, man. The ones in power in this kingdom, man. So the God they always talking about when they make, for example, speeches about, I like to thank God. The God that they're thanking is the God of this world, man. And God we trust, it relates to the ones in power of this kingdom, man. The carnal counterpart, specifically on this, what is boss, the spiritual aspect, spiritual demon Satan, with the carnal counterpart on earth. So the carnal counterpart is the God we trust regarding the celebrities, man. So yeah, they're gonna scripture says they're gonna hate one or love the other, man, or else hold to one. They hold to one what? The ones that are giving them a position of power, those gatekeepers, man. I'll get the definition of that. So they're gonna hold to the one they made that covenant with, that made that oath with, man. No matter of speaking, blood oath, paper oath, the legal documental oath. You know what I mean? So that's the ones they're gonna hold fast to, man. Go to Shalak. We'll go to 2 Timothy 6 and 10. Moving kind of fast on it. 6 and 10, but I'll read a few verses up. But godliness with contentment is great gain. So being content, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. So we can't empty it here. That's how we're gonna go out, man. And having food and raiment, let us therewith content. So that basically the basic fundamental essentials, man. Be content with that, man. With food and raiment, etc. Number 9. But they that will be rich fall into temptation, and a snare into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition, man. That's this money, man. The material things, the money, the substance of this money, what comes with it, the benefits. That's ultimately a temptation to tempt, to entice, to seduce them, and a snare, a trap, man. And with that, the perdition, pretty much that hell, man. Even their own destruction, or their own demise, man. For the love of money is the root of all evil, man. Which while some coveted after, pretty much wanting, desired, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So that's the consequence, man. Chasing the bag, chasing the money, man. The celebrities always want to go after that money, man. It's a distraction. Ultimately, it's a trap, man. And if you don't play ball with the ones who are in the position of power, who give you that, they can take that away as fast as they can give it to you, the fast they can take it away from you, man. That's what's happened. You seeing it with these celebrities, man. These sports celebrities, man. Because freedom of speech is only an optic of illusion of freedom, man. You don't have freedom of speech, man. They only tell you that and giving you that for for optics, man. But the reality is you don't have freedom of speech, man. Especially under private entities and organizations, man. If they dictating policy and different things and controlling certain things, you really don't have freedom of speech, man. They'll make it look like you do, but the reality is they don't. Because if you speak something they don't like or they find offensive, there's a penalty, there's a consequence, man. Freedom of speech is an illusion, shalak. But that's all it is, an illusion. I want to go to that definition, gatekeeper, man. I'm moving kind of fast on it, shalak. Gatekeeper, activity of controlling, limiting general access to something. Controlling, man. You know what I mean? They controlling certain things. The Bellies, they are the lower lesser of the uppers, man, to control what? To control, the rest of the bottom, man. So they're used as that tool, man, to control, keep them in line, man. Keep them in line as part of that control, man. Activity of controlling using limited general access to something, man. So pretty much that limited access to, man, which you're allowed to be access to or go into, man. You know what I mean? And that goes with that clique, man. You know what I mean? Fraternal order. You know what I mean? You gotta be part of something to get that, pretty much that access, man. So that's controlling in, controlling out, controlling in, man. Let's go to John 11:47. Just a few scriptures. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees and the council and said, "What to do? What do we? For this man doeth many miracles." So Yahushua is ultimately a threat. That's a plot relating to Yahushua to ultimately to take out Yahushua, man, because he was a threat to the establishment of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, man. They were worried about their position, worried about their status. Yahushua was a threat to that regarding his matters, man, because of what he's doing. So that's part of getting rid of him, man. 48. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him. So they had to do something, man, because he was getting too popular, too powerful, man. And the Romans shall come and take them both, our place and nation, man. So they were worried about their position, man. You know what I mean? With Yahushua on the scene, he's a threat to that, man. Pretty much he condemns them, man, because they're wicked, man. And they're those same spirits that were back then are back in some of these people now, man. And that's that persecution, man. One of them named Caiaphas, being the high priest in the same year, said unto them, ye know nothing at all. So keep reading. Nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he not himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahushua should die for that nation which is Israel, not for the nation only, but that also should gather together one of the children of God that were scattered abroad. That's the ones who are scattered, man. The Israelites that are scattered, remember, among the other nations. They're Jews, but they took on the Gentile state of mind. So they're Gentiles in the Jews, which, matter of speaking, two sets of Gentiles. The other nations and the ones, the Israelites, that were scattered among the other nations that took on those customs, the traditions relating to the heathen nations, man. That's called Hellenization or Hellenista in Greek, man. Go to First the Maccabees, man. So they took on those customs and they've been spread out and scattered among these other nations. They took on the forms of these other nations related to the traditions and different things, man. So they became like the heathen, man, but they're Israelites. Going back to their pedigree, their lineage, their seed line, man. Because the Gentiles, that's a simple but complicated for people to understand, man. But it's simple. Deuteronomy 28:64. It will be scattered among all these other nations, worshiping other gods and different things, man. Thou shalt be scattered among other nations, worshiping other gods. And, that's Deuteronomy 28:64, man. So you're going to be scattered throughout the diaspora, which is pretty much all four corners of the earth, man. So Israelites are all scattered among these other nations. So that's why Scripture says the word has to be preached. Once the word is preached, then the end will come, man. That's in Matthew 24, I believe, around 14 verse, man. Because Israel scattered, man. They like the sand of the sea, man. They're innumerable, but they're uncounted. You can't count them, man. Shalak for going too much too much off the course. But the point is, Israel, relating to that specific verse, man, Israel is scattered all over the place, man. So this word has to go where it can be reached, all four corners, man. We'll read that again. And not for that nation only, but that also should gather together one of the children of God that were scattered abroad, man. Because Israel scattered all over the place, man. And then from that day forth, they took counsel together to put him to death. The Sanhedrin is that council, the high priest, the Sadducees, Pharisees, man. So they took counsel to get rid of him, man. Yahushua therefore walked no more openly among the Jews, but went thence into a country near the wilderness, into a city of Ephraim, and there continued with his disciples, man. Because he knew what was at hand, man. And the Jews Passover and nigh at hand, and many went out of the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover and purified themselves. Read two more. Then sought they for Yahushua, and spake among themselves, and they stood in the temple. What think ye that ye will not come to the feast? Now both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given a commandment that if any man knew where he were, he should shew it. So if they knew where he was, they need to tell him, man, that they might take him, man. Because the goal was to plot to scheme to crucify or exterminate Yahushua, man. That's what those scriptures are relating to. Those verses are relating to. Let's continue on. So, equating that with fast forward in this place, the men of the Lord are going to be persecuted. For before they hated you, they hated me, man. John 15 and 18. Go to John 19. I believe... 4. Pilate therefore went forth again and saith unto them, Behold, I bring him forth to you, that ye may know that I find no fault in him. And going back to because the wicked of our own people offered him up, man. So they crucified him first, man, by offering him up. Those wicked spirits, man, they're back now. A lot of them, for example, use some of these celebrities, man, pretty much sacrificing their own, man. For example, Kyrie Irving, players betraying him and stuff. So they offering sacrificing him up, man, to make him look like to demonize him, bear false witness against them and different things, man. So they're doing what the wicked Israelites did to Yahushua, man. In context, back and fast forward in this society, man. You're going to have many are going to be false accusers and false accuser of the brethren. That relates to the wicked, but that could be 2/3 of people too accusing you, man. They're going to hate you, man. Go to 2 Ezra 16, about 70, 74. You know what I mean? impending persecution on the ones who worship the Lord or fear the Lord. A lot of those going to be 2/3 against their own kind, man. Demonization, lying, leasing, falsehood. Let's go back to those scriptures. Then came Yahushua forth, wearing the crown of thorns and purple robe, and Pilate saith unto him, Behold, man, behold the man. When the chief priest therefore and the officers say him, called out, saying, Crucify him. 2/3 said, Crucify him, crucify him. They rather have Barabbas, which was a thief and a murderer, exchanged, say, you can have this righteous man. Give us Barabbas, because he's of the world, man. So he's more accepted of the world. You know what I mean? Yahushua, he was hated, man. He was of the world, but he was hated among his own kind, man. Scripture talks about he was hated among the prophets, not respected in his own among his own kind, his own countries, among his own kin, man. They offer him up, say, crucify him, crucify, let the blood be in our hands and our children's hands. They're their children. That's going to come back 3-4 generations that hate him, man. They're the past lives, they were those spirits, man. So they're going to come back again in this generation. You know what I mean? So they were those spirits of the old. That's regeneration, man. Here we go. 6. When the chief priest therefore and the officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him, crucify him. Pilate saying to him, Take ye him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him, man. And that's these wicked Israelites, man. Yahushua answered him, we have a law, and by our law we ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God, man. He is the Son of God, man. Scripture says, I come here to do my Father's business, man. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was more afraid. And he went again into judgment hall, and saith unto Yahushua, Whence art thou? But Yahushua gave him no answer. He didn't respond. Then saith Pilate unto him, Speakest thou not unto me? Knowest thou not that I have power to crucify thee? So the Romans had the power, man. Just like the ones in a position of power have power to do certain things if you don't comply in a certain manner, like they want you to, man. And for example, the celebrities, you go out of line, they're gonna crucify you financially, economically. Period, man. Your career is gonna be in jeopardy, man. And have the power to release thee. Yahushua answered, Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except if it were given thee from above. So the Lord ultimately is controlling him, man. He just playing out his part relating to being crucified for the nation of Israel, man. He's doing his Father's business, man. Yahushua is fulfilling his lot, man, to be that sacrificial for Israel, man. But Rome has no power over him. Scripture says he can send angels to, do certain things, man. Yahushua answered, Thou couldst have no power against. Yahushua answered, Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except if it were given thee from above. Therefore, he that delivered me into thee have the greater sin. That's 2/3 who pre-offered him up to be crucified, and the ones who actually crucified him. And the 2/3 of that, for example, are the wicked of his own people, man. Fast forward, the ones who are going to be those same spirits are back in different venues and different sections of society, man. For example, the sports, the media. So ones who, If you don't play ball, you're affecting what we doing. We gonna, so they're gonna turn on pretty much one another, man. These celebrities turn on one another, man. Because of what? They don't want to jeopardize, just like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, man. They don't want to jeopardize their goodies, their position, man. So they have the greater sin. Scripture talks about Revelations. All eyes are ones who pierced them. Even the ones that pierced them shall see them, man. I believe that's on Revelations 1:7. So that's the ones 2/3 who offered them up, and the ones who actually pierced them, man. All right, that's good. Let's continue on. Going with that, I wanted to show something. So that's part of that persecution. Some scripture talks about they're going to trials and tribulations. Some going to be locked in the prisons. Let me see if I get it. Revelations. That's the King Alfred clan. Revelations 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer, man. So there's going to be much suffering. Part of that suffer the hour of temptation, trials and tribulations, man. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you in prison. Revelations 12:12. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil's going to come in great wrath, knowing he has but a short time. 12:12. First Peter's 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because the devil, your adversary, is like a roaring lion waiting to whom he may devour. 1 Peter 5:8. He shall come as a flood. Isaiah 59:19. So persecution is part of that pretty much that blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg is our old fast attack of old German fast attack that pretty much attacks aggressively your opposition when their defenses are semi-down, man. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life, man. That goes with that trial. Be patient. I'm going to give Revelations 3:10 as well. So part of that is being that persecution, man. Some are going to be put into prisons, martyr, guillotine. There's a thing where they purchased guillotines from China, man. It was like, I think it was 6 years ago or something. I seen it in an article, man. So they're not purchasing it cut Swiss cheese and ham, man. So the point is, man, they're using it specifically, man. So these things will come to pass, man. Go to Revelations 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. Patience goes to endure and suffer and tolerate. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, man. The hour of temptation will come in many variety forms and different ways, man. From Revelations 13, that's the biggest one of the hour of temptation, to different being in the prisons, going through famines, Jacob's trouble, World War III, different types of situations, man. But the main one is relating to Revelations 13, 16 on down. That's the ultimate hour of temptation, where Scripture says many are going to take that, man. A lot of those will be celebrities as well, man. Remember, they made that consolation, they made that covenant, man. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them. Try them is to test them is to try them. That dwell upon the earth. So they're all going to be tested, all going to go through that hour of temptation. Everybody on this earth, man. Isaiah 28 and we get that. Speaking of celebrities, I thought they supposed to be tight with one another, man. As long as each other's money is not affected, because money is really deeper than friendship, man. So that's how much, they covetous after the money, man. So, let me go to wherefore hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because ye said, we have made a covenant with death. And that's 2/3. They made that covenant, man. That's their agreement, man. With hell are we at agreement when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, and it shall not come into us. That overflowing scourge, man, praise a form of tool of punishment, man. That goes like Revelations 12 and 12, 1 Peter 5 and 8, Isaiah 59 and 19, man. Go to 2 Ezra 16 and 68. I'll go to that one. That's going to come around in 2/3. Even the ones who they think were safe by making that covenant, so they can enjoy the somewhat the false convenience and comforts of this society. The ones who pretty much sold out, man. It shall not come into us. So that's that false sense of thinking. For we have made lies our refuge, man, and understood falsehood, understood falsehood, we have hid ourselves. So they think they're safe behind these forms of truths, which are lies, forms of deception and deceit. Okay, go to 2 Ezra 16 and 68. Those scornful men are those wicked men, man, relating to 28 and 14. They the wicked men, man, of 2/3 of our people, man. 68 and 68. 2 Ezra 16 and 68. And behold, the burning wrath of the great multitude is kindled over you. So that's pretty much that scourge, man. And they shall take away a certain of you, feed you, being idle with things offered to idols, man. Pretty much that temptation, the hour of temptation. Certain thing in Revelations 13, 16. Pretty much an ultimatum, a forced ultimatum. You know what I mean? Let's go on. And they that consent into them shall eat, and they that consent into them shall be had in derision and reproach and trodden underfoot. So giving into that idol, man, they're gonna be made a fool, man, because they trusted that ultimately. Revelations 14:9 and 11. This would be the consequence in pretty much consenting to specifically of a certain thing, man, related to Revelation 13 and 16, man. So that would be a derision. Derision is a mockery. And there shall be in every place, the next cities, a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Insurrection, violent uprising, and different things, man. Sedition, mutiny, upon what? The ones who this is the pending persecution, relating to pending persecution of the ones who fear the Lord. And they shall be like madman, sparing none. That's that persecution, that's that scourge. But still spoiling, destroying those that fear the Lord. That's that persecution. 72. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out. A lot of them go into homes, invasions, home invasions, private, public entities, man. Take away their goods, put them in, put some in prison, exterminate them, all kinds of things, man. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried. Tried is tested, man. As the gold in the fire. Physical, that's the spiritual and physical fires, man. And hear, O ye, my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand. So they're nigh at hand, man. But I will deliver thee the same. That relates to divine deliverance. Scripture talks about Matthew 24. The days shall be shortened if for the elect say, if those days weren't shortened, there will be no flesh to be saved, man. So, because the mannerism, the ones in power, how they're gonna come, man. Because they have what? Revelation 12 and 12, they only have a short time, man. And the Lord's going to put that spirit on them to come. Because everything is controlled by Yahweh Shem Yahshua, man. He's the master chess player that's controlling all the pieces on earth, man. And every piece on earth is a pawn to him, man. Being used for his purpose, man. This was a few scriptures. I hope it helps. Whoever listens, this is Zayah, which means wolf. I hope it helps in some way. I'm going to give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahshua, Shem Rakakadash. Hope it helps. Shalom. Thanks.